Hey, my name is Portia, and today I'm going to go over Google Sheets query. So Google Sheets query is an API within Google that can help you filter your spreadsheets like really efficiently and in like a fast way. So I didn't learn about Google Sheets until last week. Last week I downloaded all of my LinkedIn contact data and I wanted to query and see who in my network, who's a marketer and who's a founder. I was about to do this by hand, but when I create the spreadsheet, I actually had like over 3,000 rows. So it would have been really tedious for me to actually go through this by hand. The second option was to use coding, to use Python. And I'm like, oh, I can make a Python script. But then, I suspected that perhaps this might have been overkill. So I said, hey, why don't I look into the Google Docs for Google Sheets and see if there's an easier way to like look through my data, and there is. So what we're looking at now is a spreadsheet that you would find in Google Sheets documentation for query. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use query as a way to answer like really basic and really common data from our spreadsheets. So this data looks like something you would find in an HR department. It has a list of names, places, the departments where they work, lunchtime, salary, and hiring date. So what we're going to do is our first mission is to find the average age of all the employees at this company. And to do that, we'll go over here and we'll use query. We'll select columns A through H, and we will use select. So any of you who are familiar with SQL, select is a very common command that you will find in SQL. We AVG, which is average, and then we'll do column F. So once we put this in, this gives us the average age of 28.8. So the average age, if we round up, is 29 in this workforce. Cool. So the next thing we want to do is we want to order the salaries from highest to lowest. So we can find the salaries here in column D. And we just want to find out like who's making the most and who's making the least. So if we want to answer this question, we'll use sort this time. We'll go over column A, column H, and we're going to use the fourth column that has the salary information. And we want the information to be ascending as opposed to descending. So we're going to put false because their data is not descending. And let's see what we get. So looking at this information, we're able to see who gets the highest salary, which is John, and Dana gets the lowest. All right, so moving on. Our final question is, and this is the question, this is very similar to the problem I was solving last week. Who in this group is part of engineering or who's part of like marketing department? So we're focusing on column B. And in order to do that, we will use query again. Columns A through H, the select command, and let's just get A, B, C, G, F. Let's get all those columns. And if you're familiar with SQL, we're going to use where. That shows us exactly like what kind of data we want. And here we want B equals ENG, which is engineering, or column B equals marketing. Okay. So once we put this information in, let's see, it did not show us. That's very interesting. It did not show us who is part of engineering and who's part of marketing. Let's do this again. So for here, let's see, we have AH, we have select, A, B, C, G, and F, and we have where B equals engineering or B equals marketing. One of the spaces might have an effect on this query, so I'm actually going to take out the spaces and see where that gets us. So taking out the spaces, looks like the quotes are correct, A through H, and let's press enter. Oh, and that solved the problem. So you have to be really careful when putting these queries in. Like, just be sure you don't have any extra white space. And here we have everyone from engineering to marketing. And that concludes our lesson. I'll have the commands below. I also have the commands in GitHub repo, which I'll put in the bottom. And finally, if you want more tutorials on like technology and marketing, please subscribe below, and I will see you next time.